Hmm.
Okay, so you speak, I speak,
We can speak.
we all speak for no speak. I speak, you speak, we all speak for no speak.
Jim Jarmusch is rolling in his apartment couch right now
Why's that?
because he took a really great movie moment and just crushed it.
Tell me more about Jim Jarmusch.
He made that movie where the line comes from I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice
Oh,
cream.
that's from a Jim Jarmusch movie?
Yeah.
I never knew. I never knew. All right, let's start streaming.
Mm.
And we are now streaming. So let's get to um, talking with face. There we go. You and I are here again. And let me just make sure that everything's working on. Yep, we're looking great on the real life Twitch. So now we can say, hey, welcome to Studio Remote Season 1, the Rose Hall Project. I'm Moacir P. Dessa Pereira. I'm the uh, uh, Research Data Librarian at Columbia University Libraries. And with me is.
Alex Hill, the Digital Scholarship Librarian for Columbia University Libraries, also part of the Research Data Services Unit.
Right, and we're going to be continuing with the Rose Hall project. We have a slightly new and improved, perhaps, environment in which we're working in now. Namely, we are using our good friend OBS to make things a little bit prettier. So maybe this will be valuable. Maybe people will like it, or maybe it'll be like get in the way and be obnoxious, or I don't even know. What do you think, Alex, so far?
I like it so far. Dear members of the audience, Monsieur even bought a new computer so that he could bring this experience to you guys. Monsieur, you want to tell us a little bit about the improvements and what we can do now that we were not able to do last week?
There's not actually a whole lot that we can do now. It looks a little bit prettier. You have a nice handsome bottom third there for when you're talking. I Yep, exactly. I also have.
Yes, I can see it too here. No, but I can see myself having way worse lag than I was even before. Eh,
At this.
on Zoom, you're lagging too.
I am.
Yeah, a lot.
Well, I don't like that one bit.
You know, it reminds me of the opening of Don Quixote when he's trying to make a helmet out of a bucket.
Yeah.
And he asked Sancho Panza to hit him in the head with a broomstick to see if the bucket would hold.
Mm-hmm.
That was his test. And of course, Sancho Panza hits him really hard on the head with the broomstick and breaks the bucket and knocks Don Quixote down to the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what happens now. Let's see how you solve this problem, and I'll tell you what happens next in the book.
You mean while I'm solving the problem, you'll continue explaining what happens in Don Quixote?
I just want to see if it actually turns out exactly how Miguel de Cervantes predicted it would.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to mute myself right now.
Uh-huh.
All right, I'm coming back. Tell a story.
Okay, fine. I'll tell everybody how the story of Don Quixote's bucket helmet ends. So he makes another bucket, uh, And this time, instead of asking Sancho Panza to hit him over the head with a broomstick to see if it works, he just asks Sancho to tell him how it looks. Sancho says it looks good. He says, that's good enough for me. And they ride off into the roads of Spain uh, to fight crime. The moral of the story is, of course, you never test out stuff the second time after the first time of going live with something new fails miserably.
What was the moral of the story?
That if you're Don Quixote, you don't do a second test after the first one failed.
No. Well, the test was to see exactly how it was failing, because Jeremiah said maybe some major lag going on, but actually it's not that as much as the video is super choppy.
Hmm.
Mostly your video. I think I seem fine, but yeah. So
Maybe my internet?
mm,
Because I'm pretty sure that Ivan is downloading games in that room over there while watching YouTube videos on his phone and playing with his friends on the Xbox.
oh, OBS is saying encoding overloaded. All right, let's stop the streaming really quickly and we'll be right back. And start the recording again.
Just when
And
you're in the little box, it's fine. It's when you put on the big.
yeah, it should be yeah, it should be yeah, it makes it when it's like this.
Yeah, that's when you were having problems. I couldn't in the beginning, and then I could.
However, now you can hear me. Now you can hear me. Now you can hear me. Now you can
I
hear
could
me.
hear you both times.
Yeah, I know
Just
you could, but Jeremiah couldn't. And now we're back to this where everybody can hear. And is the lag better? Tell a story again, please.
so there was this little girl went to see her grandma in the forest, and a wolf had eaten the grandma, and the wolf tried to trick the little girl to convince her that the wolf was the grandma, and which was the most like absurd ploy ever. Also, why are wolves talking? And then it turns out that a little girl was called Karen, and she called a hunter who came and killed the wolf. This guy really ugly. Um, so it's a sensitive political situation in the forest.
So your take home for Little Red Riding Hood is why are wolves talking?
Yeah.
It works now. I checked the stream. Everything is fine. I downscaled the stream quality, so now we're only streaming at 720 as opposed to 1080p, and and that should make all the difference in the world.
But our archival video can be 1080p.
We'll see.
What do you mean we'll see? Let's have at least good quality video for posterity.
Well, I mean, we'll see at the end of today, and then we'll see what happens in the future.
Okay, we really need to iron this out.
Yeah. I mean, there's a couple things that we can still mess with. I was just curious, like, yeah. So there you go.
You know, one of the things we could do is get on a call with Vinny down at CTL. Vinny used to work for Cedars, and Vinny knows everything in the world there is about streaming and video and stuff like that. Vinny is like walking encyclopedia of this stuff. Let's ask him if he has any tips. I mean, just an idea.
Mm-hmm.
And Vinny's also cool. He's just a cool guy to talk to. And anybody named Vinny.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
My main concern about 720 is that it'll be trickier to read the screen when we switch to my screen.
Correct. That's why it's like
I
we're
said
losing the most important thing just so that we can have a little banner in the bottom. Like the most important thing is that people can follow the lesson.
Alex, the most important thing is branding. This is
No.
2020. The
What?
brand is the most important thing.
No. Have you met me? Are you new? No. I have never subscribed to these philosophies.
Well, you should, because it's a true philosophy.
That's okay. I'll stay here unpromoted for the rest of my life in my position without advancing in society. Thank you.
I mean, you can advance in society without getting promoted at work.
Right. Anyways, I'll remain here unpromoted at work and unadvanced in society, both. Um, if that is what it takes. No, branding is not more important than the actual content what we're here to do.
I mean, we were streaming at 720 earlier, like before.
Oh, is that what we were doing before?
Yeah.
Oh, then.
I'm pretty sure.
But people were able to read the screen, right?
Well, I mean, you know.
I mean, I had to remind you once in a while to make it bigger.
Right. We haven't really gotten feedback one way or the other, but like I have the stream as it's appearing on the actual website on Twitch open on my computer, and I'm looking at it, so I'll be able to see what's visible there and what isn't. So based on that,
Okay.
we should.
Well, let's go for it then. You ready to stream again? Let's go.
Oh, we've been streaming.
What? We're streaming right now? Oh, hold on a
Yeah.
second. Ha!
There we go.
Hi, everybody. You know, we were streaming. Yeah. Very professional live show. This is live shows are the best.
I'm too tired for this. Why did we decide to do this on Fridays?
Because of Open Lab. But you know, the good news is now I realize that the rhythms of time are different during this lockdown. So perhaps when we do season 2, we don't need to do it on a Friday. We don't have to recreate. The reason we used to do Open Lab on Fridays when we were in person at the library was because it made sense at the end of the week because classes are over, etc., for us to hang out on a Friday when everybody was done with what they were doing.
And it was easy for visitors to come on Fridays also.
Right, but right now we're talking about something that it's being filmed for an archive and as an audience, a small audience live on the internet, once we do good promotion on the archive version of season 1, we can get a slightly bigger audience for season 2. But it can be anytime. It could be, we could do it midweek, Wednesday.
Well, just wait and see for when I start hyping Coding with the Dead.
Ooh.
Because that's going to be, you know, like I have to build my own brand for that, and I have to go on the Twitters and tell people and be like, hey, there's even more content coming out now, but it's not going to be interesting because it's not going to be two people talking. It's going to be just one person talking to himself, typing while listening to music.
It's fine. I mean, that's what Dennis did when he wrote his book, and he had an audience. The thing is that if we're doing this at home, it doesn't cost us anything to show people what we're doing.
That's true. This is all wins.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't, and yeah, we already been talking about ideas for season 2, and also, you know, I wanted to do that thing with the library laboratory, and we wanted to start thinking about this event of like, you know, better than Google, like I call it in my head, where you get to ask librarians to solve teams of librarians to solve a big research problem. I think that would make for a great show. Um,
Well,
and season 2, we talked about gamifying it a little bit with guests and stuff like that. We're still trying to round up a little coin to see if we can, uh, make it worthwhile for some of our friends to come on the show.
dude, you don't pay guests.
What?
Like, if you go on a podcast, you don't get paid. If you go on the Tonight Show, you don't get paid.
Yes, you do. You get promotion for your book or whatever.
Yeah, but that's not getting paid.
Okay, we'll find a way to promote people or do something. I mean, but
Oh no,
why?
for
What is
sure.
this free
Like the
labor? What is
no,
this
no,
free
no, no.
labor?
I'm saying, like if someone just had a book out, that'll definitely be in their bottom third, and it'll be like a podcast where at the end you always say, do you have anything you want to plug or, blah blah blah. Yeah,
I like the way
Jeremiah
you're
says
saying.
Jeremiah says promotion like your mug. Stop hyping WNYC, man.
Oh, it's public radio. This belongs to all of us.
I don't
Listen,
know. It's a
so
bunch of
you
liberals.
listen. We pay people to come and give talks in person. We give them honorariums. What is wrong with you people?
I, I, well, I mean, we'll see. There's a new day dawning at Columbia University Libraries starting in January, so that may include coin for people to come be on a Zoom session.
we'll see. We'll see. Now, I know that in the beginning we might have to be like, come and promote your book.
Here's $500 to listen to Moisir being like, "Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?" for 45 minutes.
All right, let's go. Let's get to business today. What do you have on the docket for us, Monsieur P. de Sapereira?
That's a very good question. So my before we move to that, my question to you is, um, well, you're gonna disappear
Where am I
once,
disappearing to?
because when I move to this view,
Not to you, but I can see myself. Ah, that's one of the problems with the new thing. And even if I talk, I'm not on the stream. We need to solve that. Yeah, we need to solve that. This is not the Moisir show. This is the studio. We are the studio.
right, right. So the other option is for me to also disappear and just have the just have this up.
That's the communist way of doing it. There, I like it.
I mean, yeah, that works for me.
We both disappear.
Yeah, the state withers, and so do the librarians.
But a better option
All
would
that
be to
remains
both
is
of
the
us have a
archive.
little screen there.
Yeah. Well, we can. Screw it. Let's.
This can be done with
we've been
OBS.
doing
I don't understand why you cannot do this with OBS.
I'm not saying I can't do it with OBS. I am completely agreeing with you that this can be done with OBS. It's just going to take me a second to figure out how to do it.
Oh, yeah, sure. Please take your time. This is
Take your time. We have 2 hours.
we're all learning. We're learning. We're learning.
We are learning. So now, like the world can see all this chaos going on. There's so many Alexes.
Ah,
So what I
this
don't
is a peaceful world of love and harmony.
what I don't know how to
Everybody gets along.
do is ooh, multiply. I think I might have this figured out. What about peace and love?
The world you're showing, just a bunch of Alexes, no, nothing else. It's a world of peace and harmony.
The Alexes get along with each other?
Oh, like a charm, very smooth,
Are you sure about that?
100%.
100% the man says.
Yep, not a single quibble.
Not a single
Internal
what?
agreement. Quibble.
Oh, shibby. Oh man, this is gonna work.
I knew you could do it. I always believed in you.
I mean, I knew I could do it too. I didn't think I'd be able to figure it out in like a minute. Thought it would take a little bit more. So I figured out how to crop a video source. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's so pretty.
What is it called? Reproduction?
What?
Duplication? What was the technique on OBS to do it?
So on OBS, there's a so what you are is you are a window. I'm capturing the entire window. The reason there were infinite Alexes was because I was capturing the entire window, the entire monitor for my computer.
Right. So this one is a window capture.
Right, but it captures the entire monitor, right? And I
Right.
don't want it to capture the entire monitor. I want it to capture just you. But
Right.
so it's like when you're placing a photo in not LinkedIn, InDesign. When you're placing a photo in InDesign, you have to like crop
You're gonna be
it.
okay there, Mister. I'm tired because it's Friday.
You
Later.
have to crop it and move it. So I
Right.
had to crop it down to fit so it's just you, and you have to do it manually. You have to type numbers in. That's why it was eating at the picture little by little. And I got something that looks basically good. And so now the two of us are there. We're at different aspect ratios because I don't feel like solving that one yet. But
We can make it. We can make it work for next week.
I mean, that's a lot of work for me to have to do. I kind of like how this works.
No. Next week we make it nice, man. And also, we gotta put the little Chiron be underneath your name, your face too.
Yeah, I think I can. I think I can make that happen right now.
There you go. Nice.
I got a Chiron. I got a Chiron.
You see, this is brilliant. All you gotta do is aspect ratio a little bit, fix it. Happy to work on my end if you need me to change my aspect ratio. Um,
No. The more widescreen, the better, because it takes up less screen real estate.
right. So yours, yeah, yours looking like mine would probably be better.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome. So now I can move that keyboard out of the way and bring in this other keyboard. Because
That man has gone the extra mile to bring you this quality branding.
this excellent content, yeah. Because my
content is still the same, but the branding, the new branding is amazing.
yeah, the branding is Flames now. We got Flames branding. Okay, so I can make this even bigger. There we go. So what do you want to do today?
Well, perhaps we can start by continuing where we left off, because we had a little bit of an unfinished business on Friday last week.
Did we?
Yes, we were composing the cards. And there were a couple of things that we had not yet brought into the cards. I'm going to give you a second so that you can collect your thoughts and remember where we left off.
Well, I remember that we were creating the like click toggle action to show and hide the cards like this.
Right. So
And we hadn't really decided on what our desired behavior would be.
right, and we said that we still wanted. Then whenever you clicked on one, we did want that to go to the top.
Oh, we did?
No, no, we said that we were going to have three types of behavior that at least we wanted to leave the room open for. One of them was that the ability for the main card that you click on to go on the top, and the relationships of other cards to that one to arrange themselves below it somehow.
Right. So like bring
Uh,
the parent close or something along those lines.
right. The other one was the other behavior we wanted eventually leave ourselves open to is some kind of interaction with the uh, with the center of visualization. And we don't know what that is going to look like yet. And the other type of behavior that we wanted was to close any open cards as soon as you click out of it. As soon as you do anything else, just closes the cards. But we should revise that as we go along.
Yeah, I'm not super keen on working on the cards today because that's just going to be, we don't really know the behavior we want.
Not yet.
And to do the sort of like grouping with the mothers and that sort of thing, we need to incorporate the mother connections, which we haven't done yet either.
Correct. So I think it's time, members of the audience, drum roll, to start working on the D3. Yay!
All right. I am
I mean,
so
I know
excited.
this is what everybody was waiting for. This is the candy, right? This
Yeah,
is
I meant to tweet, be like, we're doing D3 today. Well, you may have guessed that D3 begins by being installed. Oops, it's not install, it's add D3.
the one disadvantage about this setup that we have is that I definitely cannot read your screen.
You don't have me on the big window on Zoom?
I have it on a huge window, but it's so pixelated right now.
Oh, cause of the laggedy. Cause it looks fine on the actual stream.
Yeah, on the stream, that's fine. But I can hear you,
Mm-hmm.
and I more or less can guess what you're typing.
Do you want me to read what all of what Yarn put out? D3 fetch at 2.00.
No,
D3
I'm good.
force
That's
at
all the
2.1.1.
dependencies. I
Yeah.
got that part. If just as long as you call out what you're typing, I think we're good.
Okay. So in
There's
preparation
also
for
an
this,
access issue. I think it's just good practice to read aloud what we're typing.
that's a good point. Yeah. Um, dum 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 dum. Dun 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 dun. Okay, so in preparation for this morning I was reading this article called "The Lost Guide to Starting with Ember and D3." So this is a blog post by this person, Ewan. And so for those of you who are working with Ember or want to know a little bit more about it, the funny thing about Ember is when you Google stuff about it, usually everything is from 2016 or earlier. I have no idea why that is, but it's true. And any Ember like how-tos or anything like that you get from 2016, it's trash. It's useless. Like it's the the ecosystem has changed so much. The idiom has changed. I mean, like the what's underneath the hood hasn't changed a lot, but it has, but like you can make the connections, but it has gotten so much more ergonomic and so much easier to understand. So anyway, so back then in 2016, you couldn't even get D3 installed in Ember. You had to like do all these kinds of like bloody 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 stuff to get it to work. And there's even this blog post relies on this Ember D3 add-on, which we don't even need anymore. If we actually go look up the add-on, like, I mean, all this really does is just ensures that you have the latest D3 installed. Like this stuff here, import line from D3 shape, import let me go down here and try it. So like, you know what? Let me open up a JavaScript file. So if I do import line from D3, like D3 shows up there, and then if I do D3, how does this work? Maybe I'm wrong. Let's use Ember D3. Sorry.
Good times.
What's that?
Good times.
Yeah, so let's delete D3 and let's do Ember install Ember D3. Does it work that way? I was expecting this to like autofill, but it's not autofilling. But that anyway, that may be my fault, or you know, who knows. But this is one of the cool things is that anything that you add with Yarn, you can just auto import now. You don't have to go through this extra layer. But in any case, so now let's go back to that blog post. So what I really liked about this post was that Ewan answered a problem that I had been struggling with ever since the first time I tried to use Ember and D3 together. Like, as we saw last week, Ember has things like the on helper, right? Like
Right.
DOM manipulation and events and clicking and all that sort of thing is handled natively by Ember, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's also what we like D3 for. Like, we like using the D3.on click, you know, whatever, and do a callback sort of thing. So what Ewan does here is point out that there's basically two ways to use Ember with D3 or D3 with Ember. One is to like just have D3 just handle everything, right? So what you end up doing is you just create a container in Ember, and then you just write a huge JavaScript file to do all the magic, right? And then the other thing is to let Ember provide the data and do the DOM manipulation. So you're relying on D3 to only create the graphical primitives, like the lines or whatever.
I'm gonna bet that the second one is the less trouble prone.
I think you are correct. That definitely seems true to me. So, right. So Ewan then does the same project twice, and you can see like the JavaScript gets pretty long with the first version. The second
I
version,
hate long JavaScript files.
it's also long,
Masir
but it's a
knows.
little bit, yeah, it's also long, but it has this kind of interesting stuff. And the main thing I like about this is so use Ember for the data binding and DOM manipulation, is that in general, if the data changes, it won't in this page, but if the data changes, then the visualization will update automatic. Actually, it will. So we'll have it update automatically. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
Awesome. Okay, so yeah,
We're gonna do the second. Wait.
we are gonna do the second one.
Yeah.
And so the way I was thinking about this morning was to so let's open up the routes. And here we have it creates that random data, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it creates 209 people. And I say, for starters, let's just have it create 10 people.
Mm-hmm.
Because, just so that it doesn't flood everything. So now if I do that, and then I go and I restart the server, and then go back to the browser. Oh, nope, it hasn't kicked in yet. There we go. So now it's just 10 names. So that'll be a little bit easier, right? So now we do some boilerplate. So let's create a component called what? Visualization?
Mm-hmm.
Or no,
Visualization
let's be
one,
more
base one.
one, not like community tree or
Or if community trees is fine. I was just leaving ourselves the room to do Vis 2, Vis 3. Not that we're saying we're going to. You're community 3 instead of community 3. Which are different
Is it
things.
5 o'clock yet?
It's not the third community. It is still the first community.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
It says Jeremiah saying that my mic is a bit louder.
Yes, it's a true fact. No. You don't do anything. I've been like secretly boosting my gain the entire time. Speak now.
Hello.
Yeah, you're still
Welcome
loud.
to
You're
Movie Phone. Do you want me to show you the new releases?
let me boost my gain
Yeah.
a little
We
bit
like
more.
to browse our categories.
I'm already gaining myself by 8 decibels, and I don't like to go into double digits, but let's try 12.
I can lower the volume of my mic here on my computer.
No. But the problem is that I'm not even like like the audio level meter is like green, yellow, red. I'm not even getting into the yellow. Now I'm getting into the yellow, and whereas you were in the yellow all the time.
Yeah, we also know that throughout this pandemic, your volume has always leaned low.
That's because I'm a quiet person. I'm just a mouse.
Right. It's a mousy, tired Masir.
I'm just a mouse
Oh,
in my house.
mousy Masir. Mouse Monsieur. Monsieur the Mouse. I like it. Monsieur the Mouse. That's it. That's the name of the children's book.
Yeah. Okay, so we have the community tree, and then let's create the component class. Okay, so now we have to put the component in, of course. So that's in the routes. Nope, that's in templates. Index. So currently here we have this awful image that I'm very glad to get rid of. Like, I should have not just picked the first pie chart I saw and like thought a little bit better, because I just think that was a bad image for like reasons. And we can put community tree in. What information will we be passing to community tree?
We will be passing the same data we're passing to the card.
Right. So we refer to that data here as model, if you remember,
Correct.
right?
So we want to pass the add model.
Yeah, so we
Here
pass
as well.
add model, and let's pass it as, what do you want to call it inside the component?
Data.
Sure. Okay. And then that's that for that. And now if we do components, community tree, HBS, we can do each data as person. Each.
And the person comes with all the. This is the we have to do this individually for each of the different data categories.
No, this
Or
is just a proof of concept
okay, just
that the names appear here.
Okay.
So yeah, no, I mean we're not actually going to, but this shows how we can start doing this. So, for example, one thing we know is that we're not going to be having these paragraphs. We're going to have an SVG.
Right, and all of these things are part of some G's.
Are part of what?
Of one G.
Oh yeah. So
G stands for geometry, if I remember correctly, right?
I think that is incorrect.
Incorrect.
Yes.
Group. It stands for group.
Group. Yes.
Got it. When I was a kid, G meant something else. So what up, G?
I think it still means that.
No, G meant gold.
What up, G is what up, gold?
A gangster. G meant gangster.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Except we didn't speak English, so all we could say is what up, G, without knowing what we were saying, because we wanted to be cool like American kids. We had no idea what it meant.
So I'm setting the width and the height of the SVG dynamically.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'm setting it inside the component. So this is the last week we were talking about how a component has a JavaScript page or JavaScript document file.
Community3.js.
And a handlebars template. So this is the template, which is HTML with squiggles, with mustaches. And this is the JavaScript. This is just regular, boring old JavaScript.
Right.
And so now if we can get rid of this. Oh, then let's do G ID equals
Don't we have actual IDs in the data that we generated?
We do indeed.
All right.
So now let's inspect this.
Mm, He's using the browser inspector on Chrome, I think, members of the audience.
Yes. Yeah. So as you can see, like this is the visualization section, and then here's the SVG that we created. Like as you can see here, SVG class community tree. I don't like giving them IDs because, I mean, I don't like it, although I do it down here. So we'll see if that works fine. And then, hey, inspector. Okay. So here's the SVG, and you can see that it has a width of 250 and a height of 250, which are set here and referred to here. Width equals this width, and height equals this height.
Completely unnecessary, all of this. You could have put it directly in the component. I don't know why you would add that in the JavaScript. Just to show that you can pass data from the JavaScript to the component.
No, there will be reasons later.
Because we actually are going to change the size computationally.
Yes, we may want to do that. Yeah.
Of the overall visualization, though.
Yeah. This was a big problem that we had with the first version, was we kept pushing the ball on solving that. But anyway, so here we go. And then we have the 9 Gs. Each is its own group and has this thing here, right?
Here come the Gs.
Here come the Gs. So now,
so for those of you who've never worked with geometries and D3 before, or SVGs in general.
Yeah, because we haven't even done anything with D3 yet. This is just SVG stuff.
Yeah, this is just an pure SVG, but D3 is going to, in reality, D3 is not even, it's not exactly or technically like a framework for doing graphics. It's a framework for binding data to HTML elements. Now, it just so happens that SVG is written in XHTML, and therefore it's amenable to being manipulated by anything that binds data to HTML elements. And that's why people use D3 in order to create these interactive graphics, because we just pump. Each of these elements becomes like a geometry, a square, a triangle, a circle, a line. And now we can just shape that line, circle, etc., like changing its width, its height, its thickness, etc., computationally, because D3 allows us to pump in any kind of number that we can compute.
Well, actually, just hang on, because, we're going to get pretty far without D3. So.
Right. Even without D3, we can get pretty far, because we can just write pure JavaScript on this extra JavaScript file. And
sorry, not pure JavaScript, just pure SVG.
Oh, you mean just with the regular SVG?
Yeah. Now you see, like, it looks awful.
Yes.
But this is expected behavior. So if we go down here, like, we'll see that every G has text in it. So this is Allison. And if you see that the little light blue is changing as I mouse over, you can see that over here it's changing as it's highlighting the appropriate part. So let me remind myself how to do.
Just do a basic like line
with index.
Just do like a rectangle or something like that.
Okay, hang on. Well, we'll get to a rectangle in a second.
What are you trying to do?
So, at a transition or a transformation,
Hmm.
how does this work? SVG, transform, translate.
Jeremiah is saying that the sound is funky.
Sounds like something is running too hard and clipping. That's his internet.
Ooh, he says it's the audience's problem,
Yes, it's an audience
Yeah.
problem.
not the producers. Oh, thank you. He cleared my good name. He says it's
Oh,
only
so
you.
now I'm clipping? Now I'm speaking too loud?
Huh?
Hello.
I'm gonna take the side of the audience. The audience is
Hello.
on my side.
Hello.
I'll even pretend that you were clipping on my end too.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Now you have an echo, a weird echo. The echo of somebody pretending to have an echo. It's just awkward.
All right. Okay. So, transform.
The transform attribute in SVG is what allows you to give a form. I think it's inappropriately called. It's what it allows you to give a form to a geometrical shape. Makes it flexible, bendable.
Yeah. So what we've got here as is we have this text shows up at the. Whoa! Come back.
You said you're still
Oh
clipping and
no,
that you're
I'm.
killing his ears. Mm-mm.
I don't know what to say. The meters aren't clipping on OBS. But I
Is
don't
there?
I don't want to be killing anyone's ears.
No, that's bad. We can test it again during the break, which is coming in like 5 minutes.
Well, let's take the break now.
Okay. Let's take a break and see if we can solve that.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Let's take a break and I'll think about it.
All right.
All right. So
Let's
let
take a
me.
real break, you and me, for like 5 minutes, and then we'll think about it another 5. All right. We'll be back around. We'll be back at 4:05. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm back. Oh, and Alex is back too. Oh, I just heard myself. So I'm not clipping. I'm just um, being choppy. My voice. My voice. No, for in an audio sense, it's two different things. Sure. So clipping is when the I'm making you visible, man. So clipping is when you have when the signal. So analog signals, because it's a wave that goes up and down, can go all the way, like they can reach infinity. And when you start pushing that limit of an audio wave to the breaking point, quote unquote, that's when you get distortion, like analog distortion, like a distorted guitar. And when you clip, digital clipping is when the wave is so loud that it hits the digital limit, because digital stuff has an upper limit that analog doesn't. Like if you hit the analog limit, like the machine blows up, whereas the digital will just, it starts clipping. So like imagine a sine wave that starts having a flat top, and that sounds like distortion too, but a different kind of distortion. What I'm not coming in distorted that way. What's happening with me is it's choppy. So it's chop, 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 like that. Well, let's see. Nope, just now I tested it and I sounded fine. Oh crap. Okay, and I turned you off. I'm sorry, Alex. This is all so complicated. But this is all rookie stuff that will be fixed for the next time we do this. Um, anyway, you're gonna like be secretly DMing people, being like, I don't know why this has to be so complicated. It was so fine when it was working with just a Zoom call, right? Yeah. Okay. So let's get this text to show up. So yeah, but he can now. I know what the problem was. So transform. This is I Clippy. Uh, I'm so impressed with my inability to have predicted that the main problems would be audio related and not video related, because video was what I was so worried about having not worked correctly, and it now is working perfectly fine, and everything is great. But now somehow, some way, Alex's signal is dead. I don't know what's going on here because I didn't change anything to turn him off. Can you speak? Yeah. Um, crap. I don't want to turn the stream on and off, but let's try that. Speak, Alex.
Hello.
Yep, now you're coming in fine. Everything is awesome. Speak again.
Hello, I speak again.
You are back. We are all back. And hopefully the chop is back yet.
Do you think Twitch just divided this into 2 videos instead of 1?
I perhaps this is. I mean, this could be related to that, but I don't. I'll have to look into it a little bit.
All right.
All right, so let's do the thing with the thing that we were working on here. So you were explaining transform, right?
Yeah, and you were about to explain it further with the actual page on the documentation for transform.
Well, I was just looking at the syntax.
Oh, okay.
So transform is where you can give a bunch of commands to your SVG, whatever it is that you're doing, to do things like move it around on the SVG canvas, rotate it, and give it other effects. So here I'm using the translate command, which moves it. So this is move this text object, move this group, 25 pixels to the right along the X, and then 25 pixels down along the Y. 0, 0 is in the top left corner, which is a little bit funny, but I mean, it makes sense, but it's not exactly what we expect. And now we have nothing. There we go. So it moved the text down, but the text is all on top of each other because it every single time it moves it down a little bit. So what we want it to do is to move each one down a different amount, right? So the way we can do this is by doing this. This transform I. So up here we have each data as person I. So person is the what holds the data values, like the ID and the name and stuff. I is the index. How far up or down have we gone? Or in through the list. So that's why, like with just the 10 people, it goes from 0 to 9, right? Yeah. So now it's asking you to do something called this transform, and over here it's probably crashing. So let's create transform.
Sorry, that's an I or an 1? I can't read it.
It's an I.
It's an I.
Yeah. So I times, let's do times 10. So here we have transform equals this dot transform I, which means send I to this function transform, this dot transform. And then over in the JavaScript, we define it. Transform expects a variable that we're calling I, and it returns translate 25, comma, I times 10. And it's crashing. So what did I do wrong?
I was never defined anywhere to begin with. In JavaScript, don't you have to create the variable before you start messing with it?
No, because it's coming in from you know what it is, I think. There we go. No, because it's coming in from so on the template, I is defined up here, right?
I got it. I forgot that you had.
And then it's passed here to the function, this dot transform, And then here, transform is already expecting an I. So it didn't work. So let me see what it thinks is going on. So nothing seems to be going on. Yeah. This property, like nothing is showing up here.
Hmm. I can't help you because all of this is new territory to me. Bringing in a function um, into one of the templates.
Yeah. No, well, like this is an interesting error. Like it's not. Let's show the world how we solve errors.
Let's do it. Copy and paste, people. You copy and paste the error into Google and hit enter. That solves about 80% of the world's problems. People don't do it because they're lazy. They want somebody, they prefer to ask somebody to do that for them. But literally, that person is just going to do what you should have done in the first place. Just copy and paste that error yourself. A lot of people actually, what they want you is just for you to do the thing for them. I'd be like, Ivan, how do I get ice from the refrigerator? Is translates into, can you please go get ice for me?
So the
It is true that sometimes you cannot understand the answer, as in the case here. Doesn't mean it's not the answer. It just means you're not there yet. You're not ready for the mysteries yet.
Yeah, so the syntax is correct. We have like this handle click fn, but it's also suggesting doing it with an action. No, this is the old style. This is the new style. Is you have on click and then fn this.
Let's look at the context. Is there anything in this context that is... It would be better if I could actually read, but...
Yeah, the problem is that it's there's go ahead.
We know that the JavaScript file is communicating with the template file. That's not the problem. Because width and height came from the...
Oh yeah. That we know. So there's a couple ways to do this. This is the way that I thought would be the best, but obviously if it's not working, it can't be. So instead, we can do this.
I think, but you're giving up too soon, no?
What?
We should be able to bring in functions.
Yeah, but I think that the problem is that it's getting cute with the eye. The eye is causing problems. So let's get it to work like this first.
Okay. I need to mute myself to talk to my son for a second. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Sorry, I told him I was gonna give him up for adoption if he didn't lower his voice. I think that was gonna work. So you're gonna do the calculation within Ember. Got it.
No, within the template.
Yeah, that's what I mean with the Ember environment. For me, the template is like Ember as
Oh.
opposed to the JavaScript file.
They're both Ember.
I got that part, but you know, that JavaScript could live by itself too.
Okay, so how do we do multiplication with the math helpers? Mult, I think. Yep. Okay, so unexpected helper mult, that makes sense because we have to restart the server because we installed a new package.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Whoop 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 whoop.
Okay, that's working.
Yep.
But we cannot rewrite D3 within Ember, so within the template.
Well, we haven't written any D3 yet. This is what
No,
I
I
want.
understand, but like I know what I'm saying. And what I'm saying is that we cannot pass in values with this method for everything. At some point, we're gonna have to communicate to JavaScript file that is manipulating its own data.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
No, I agree. You're right. Like I'm not the world's biggest fan of doing this way, although it is very funny to be doing it this way.
Yes. We're
like
reinventing
it like
data
it
binding. Oh, go ahead.
it may be the case that this is like um uh uh like this is you know this is that kind of functional programming that that gets you the big bucks.
Right. We should explore that at some point in our careers before retirement.
I mean, I think we are. So it's concatenating. So you can't just do like string plus string plus string. You can only ever concatenate two things at once. I think Jekyll is the same way with the concat and liquid. So you have to concatenate a concatenation, and that second concatenation is made up of mathematical expression and arithmetic expression mult, and the close parentheses.
Yeah. It's very similar in Jekyll.
Yeah. And so like yeah, and these parentheses, this is that functional programming that the kids love.
Mm-mm-mm.
All right. So it's doing the transform correctly. It's not giving us exactly what we want, but it's pretty freaking close. We can change that to 20, and I think the text will be a little bit more visible. There we go. Looks pretty. Now
right.
what?
No, go ahead.
Now you said, okay, so now we've got this, so now we can make a line, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How are we going to make this line?
we're going to draw a geometry. You started in the right way by doing a path. And I don't remember the formula. This is the kind of stuff where we always have to look.
Yeah, I don't actually want to do a path. I want to use a line. Path is going to cause any amount of trouble.
Hmm.
Okay, so line as an x1, a y1, and an x2 and a y2.
Hmm.
So is
We
that
need to
what you
we need to
want?
think about some numerical data first
Yeah.
that we're going to use for these lines. So how about age?
Yeah. So we should create the bars for the ages, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, okay. So the way you do that is you have a rectangle, and
Rect.
x1 is equal to 0. How do you, what's the syntax? Is it like the line?
Similar, I think. I remember correctly. Oh,
Width
you
and
give it.
height. Nope.
Yeah.
Okay. So, pum 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 pum. Let's go back here. So let's just have the height always be 15, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
and the width is equal to what?
I'll just give it a 30 for now. Let's.
Okay. And then it's going to want to make the how do you do the fill color? Oh, it'll be in here. Okay. I want to say it's fill color. Do you remember?
No, it's just color.
Is it?
Hold on a second. Let me.
No, let's give it a try.
You gotta close rect before you close. There you go. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's not color.
Try fill color. We could also look it up. I could look it up.
I think it's fill color in leaflet. Yeah, and it's fill in SVG.
There.
Okay. Okay, so we have this. So now, so it works with 30, but let's change it to the age. Right?
Mm-hmm. Person.h, right? We already calculated it, or we had not calculated it?
No, we don't. We have a birth year and we have a.
Right. I just didn't know if we had done the formula already somewhere else.
No, we haven't.
Oh.
So here's where it starts to make sense to do a little bit to componentize this more. I know you love hearing that.
I have accepted my fate right now. So I was thinking about like how my deep hate for having everything in just one JavaScript file, and for having everything in 100 files. Maybe I'm full of contradictions. It's like trying to find the just right amount. Sounds like a dangerously akin to idiosyncrasy for everything we do.
So I'm creating a component inside the community tree components called person.
Mm-hmm.
How's everything going over there? You're on mute. You're yelling at somebody.
I was Ivan fighting with his friends over their video game.
Uh,
We
okay.
don't know what that's like.
No, I don't play video games. So
Me
okay.
neither. I just read. I just read fancy literature.
Yeah. Okay. So we have this, and now let's just now let's go here. So the reason I put this all in components is because now inside of here, inside this component, we're referring to something at person. So as opposed to referring to the data as a whole, we're referring to something that's just a specific person. So it'll make this stuff a little bit easier to write. So for
Right.
example, age. What is the age equal to?
Person dot. Well, no. Sorry. A time of arrival minus. Wait, no. Uh, what are the variables we have available to ourselves?
That's a great question. I don't remember. Birth year and exit year. So exit year minus birth year.
Right. It's the age at that particular moment in time.
Well, I mean, you know, we're just making this dynamic for now.
Yeah. Well, as I said, this args dot person dot exit year minus birth year.
Sorry.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah, so anything with an at in the template,
Yeah.
like at I, at person, shows up as this, like that at is replaced by this dot args dot inside
Right.
the JavaScript.
There you go. Our first visualization.
Woo!
Yes. Our visualization is the age range of the fake people
Yep.
that we have here. But it shows the principle, I hope, to anybody watching that all we have are some HTML elements written in the SVG standard that allow us to draw these kind of geographies, and that those can be manipulated by mathematical formulas. This is it in terms of understanding the basic concept behind something like D3 that we're going to use later down the line. But we didn't even use D3. We just did the mathematical formulas here, simply using just JavaScript and a little bit of the Ember flavored templating language.
Mm-hmm.
With a little bit of an Ember, we used at some point an Ember dependency for to bring in some math functions that we could use, concatenation.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, do you want to add anything, Monsieur? I think this illustrates very well what the general concept of making visualizations is.
Yep. Now, do you do you want to get fancy?
Ah, well, we have. I don't know. It's a good question. We have
We have half
24
an hour.
minutes.
Yeah, we have 25 minutes.
Wonder what we could do. We could add another layer to this.
Well, I was thinking we can make it circular.
A circle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This, since we know we're going to end up with something like that. We could do that. Yeah.
Okay, so in order to do this stuff, now we will actually use D3. So D3 provides a primitive called the arc, or it's part of D3 shape, right? So what an arc is a path. So the rectangle is, anything that draws a shape in SVG is a path, right? But the rectangle is a very simple kind of path because it has a width and a height, right? Every other kind of shape in SVG uses this weird language. Well, it's not weird, it's just very terse language to draw mathematical paths, so shapes. So what D3 does is it creates, like here, you see this wedge is a straight line here, then a curve here, then another straight line here, and then a curve here. It draws that polygon used as a path object. Because it's not a rectangle, it's not a circle, it's its own thing. And D3 actually even does that with rectangles too. And so what it does is it takes that like weird little language, the D parameter of a path, and generates that string based on parameters you give it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you have, so the arc has certain arguments, right? It has an inner radius, an outer radius, a start angle, and an end angle. So using this blue wedge, as this is blue, Alex, are we in agreement on the color?
Yeah.
Okay. So this blue wedge has a start angle of 0. I'm pretty sure that they start counting from...
That's just a circle with that. They made that circle on the left a donut. Yeah.
Right. Oh, well, so that's one of the funny things about this is that the only difference between a pie chart and a donut chart is that the donut chart has an inner radius not of 0.
Right.
Right. Oh, and you see here exactly what happens. So if you have an inner radius of 0 and an outer radius of 100, a start angle of 0 and an end angle of math about pi over 2. What's pi over 2? How much of a circle is that?
The diameter, the full circle.
No, that would be pi, 2 pi, 2 pi, pi r. I don't know.
If you expect me to remember my grammar school geometry,
it's a 90-degree angle because it's 2 pi all the way around.
The only thing I remember from grammar school is the bullies and how mean they were to me.
Pi over 2 is 90 degrees.
They used to scribble. They put ink, Papermates. They used to empty out the Papermates on my desk because I like to take naps in the middle of the lessons, and I would get full of ink in my face and my head. And I remember that. Very mean to me.
Why were you not paying attention in class?
I didn't need to. I was too smart.
I mean, okay. That expressed itself a little bit differently for me in class. Anyway, so this all gets converted. This is what that weird path language looks like, which is like M and like do some stuff, make an angle of some stuff, and then close. All I remember now is that Z means close the polygon at the end.
Mm.
So, you know, forget about this. But so we have this, right? So what we want is we want an arc, is to create these arcs, okay? So how do we do this?
Yes, because the first attempt at bringing in data from the JavaScript failed.
But now we're doing it a little bit more smart.
How?
So path, like style.
Are you just going to create an empty element and then just let the D3 load into the page and fill it up?
No.
No.
I don't even know what you said. I wasn't paying attention because I'm too excited about how awesome this is about to be.
Oh, okay.
So D equals this arc. You're not sold.
I'm listening.
So now let's define arc. So
What's get in
so this is
JavaScript?
a getter. So you know how, I mean, this is a very good question. So if I open up a thing, so I don't know if you've run into this before, but if you do like const a equals return hi. Oops, I don't need the return there. A is a function, right?
Right.
So in order to get that high, so if I do like if I do const b, well, let's not do const. Let b equals a, and then I ask b what I get function. But if I do b equals a with the parentheses after it, now b is the string. It's the return value, right?
Right.
If I don't include the parentheses, then it just makes a straight copy of the function itself, as a function, right? So
right.
inside
It's a way of asking for another way of asking for a return.
yes, so it makes a getter instead of a set, and instead of
creating a new variable that gets you the return, you just ask it simply to give you the return. You say, "Get me the return."
Sort of. So let's look at the syntax here. Class, okay. I wonder if this will. It probably won't work because who knows what kind of like transpiling and stuff is going on in order to get this to work. But so what this means is that I can refer to this dot arc instead of this dot arc, like that.
Right.
Okay, but it's crashing for some reason. So, okay, so there's stuff missing. Namely a brace here. It's crashing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did I not do it right?
I can't read the error. What does it say?
It says there's a reference error. Cannot access ARC before initialization.
Hmm. You
So I
wanna
think that what's that?
you wanna take that for a Google spin or?
No, I'm pretty sure I know what that means. It means that it it's trying to draw something before it's even on the DOM.
Mm.
So that's my suspicion. Um,
Is this one of those things that we used to solve by putting JavaScript at the end of the file?
that's one way of doing it. Yeah. Um, the other way is oh man.
I always like to go for the poor man's version solution to these problems. I would slap that JavaScript at the end of the file and call it a day.
I mean, the JavaScript already is at the end of it's all
And what's
JavaScript.
going on? Why is this not loading everything before the DOM is set up?
Um,
Ember modifier. Hmm. Keep my opinions to myself.
yeah. Are you sure? Doesn't really sound
If you
like
have to
you're.
build a dependency called Ember modifier, I mean,
Go on. Go
I
on.
should tell you something.
Go on. Tell me
No,
what you
no,
want to
no,
say.
no, no. You know, my mama always said, you got nice things to say, just keep it to yourself.
I don't think that's the problem here, though.
What was the I couldn't read your screen, so what was the internet saying?
Oh, I didn't ask the internet because I thought I could just solve it by myself.
Hmm.
So that may have been a little bit on the arrogant side.
Well, we were smart when we were kids.
Uh-huh.
Established above.
Yes, you
We're
slept.
like those with
You
those
slept
kids
in
in the movie
class.
Magnolia, with like those game show host kids that.
You slept in class, whereas asked. I persistently asked completely inappropriate questions
That sounds like you.
that had like nothing to do with it. Like I mean, this wasn't always a problem, but it became a problem in like fourth grade, where like I had to. So when I was a kid, I had to like keep a notebook where whenever it was something like this, like whenever I had a question, I had to write it down in the notebook, and then I had to look at it, and then think about whether it was what we were talking about in class, or whether it was something
Mm-hmm.
completely out of left field, because it was always like stuff just completely out of left field. Um,
I mean, you and me were debating not too long ago whether Fathom was as common a word as cover, and you were holding that it was.
I
And
did not say
after
it was as
25 minutes of debating this with you, then I find myself wondering what life choices did I make that I am debating with Monsieur whether Fathom and cover are of exactly the same rarity. And I realized that I've been in these debates like right out of Gildan and Rosencrantz Are Dead with you for a really long time. So I can see that you being a kid asking those kinds of questions,
all right.
dragging the whole classroom down to.
First off, I didn't say that they're exactly the same commonness. I said that it is not as common as the other words in that list are. Cover. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I use the word fathom as much as I use the word cover. That's ridiculous. My
Good.
point was simply that cover is a weird name to have for a domain like cover.com, and like it's not as obvious as like fly.com or whatever the other ones were there in that
Yeah.
list,
I
right?
remember a debate. I think at one point I made the claim that cover made sense in the context of insurance. You argued that it would be coverage.com. And I see you as a kid. I see you in fourth grade arguing with the teacher uh, about these kinds of things. I'm sure the teacher's talking about the American Revolution, and you're probably arguing about whether we should call it a rebellion uh, instead of a revolution.
No, I think I wasn't even close to the right subject. I think I may have been asking math questions in the middle of social studies or something.
Okay, it was even worse. So you've gotten it under control. Okay, good. That's good to hear.
Yeah, something along those lines. Jeremiah is complaining that my screen is coming in as yellow, and all I can say is deal with it.
Episode 6 of Rose Hole Project, ladies and gentlemen.
we're just like antagonizing our entire viewership. I'm like too tired to do anything apparently. All right.
No, but it illustrates something that we know from real life and working on this project. This is real life because we are doing this project. This project is getting done as in live,
Yeah.
and it is going to get done. And you're going to have this project's going to exist in the world in the way that we built it here in front of everybody.
Yep.
And I just want to point out that this is exactly what happens when the cameras are not on, too. I mean, this is not different from the way we build these things. Technology fails us. The things we get stuck on solving a problem. One of us eventually, sometimes this is the part that will not be televised, is the part that in which there's one or two problems that one of us will obsess about for 8 hours in the middle of the night. And it gets solved around 5 a.m. in the morning, and then you can continue with the project. That will probably happen. And I think we just stumbled onto one of those problems that will require some of that work behind the scenes to try to solve it.
I mean,
It will be solved.
I'm pretty sure the solution is in Ewan's is here in Ewan's um, article. So you can see that
Inside, yeah.
that Ewan has, it's not exactly the same thing, but the syntax here is a little bit different. So it's basically the same thing as what we had here with D3 here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know what it is?
You solved it?
Yeah, I solved it.
What is it?
I was hoisted by my own petard.
That is a very colorful idiom. I have never heard anybody use it in my life, but I'm glad you introduced me to his drums.
You've never heard that idiom?
No, but pulling yourself by your own bootstraps was something I had heard that was in similar vein, but not that one. That one packs a punch. No pun intended.
It worked.
Good job.
The problem was I was missing these parentheses afterwards because arc dot blah 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 creates a function, not a return value. So then I have to call the function. So here I created a method as a getter, and it returns the result of a function.
A function that itself needs to produce a return. Yeah,
Mhm.
JavaScript is very lovely that way.
JavaScript is the best. Okay, so how much time? We have 3 minutes. We got far.
We should wrap it up
We
right
are
now
actually-
and,
we
and
are-
tell.
We're actually using D3 right now. But before we wrap it up, all right, so Fathom is in the frequency band 4. Band 4 contains words, such words are marked by greater specificity, blah, blah, blah. Most words remain recognizable to English speakers and are likely be used unproblematically in fiction or journalism. Examples include overhang, life support, register, rewrite, nutshell, candlestick, rodeo, embouchure, insectivore.
Embouchure, that's not a level 4. Embouchure is a level 2 at best. I don't know what they're smoking over there at the OED, but embouchure is no. I have to look it up right now. Like I literally am about to go look
It's
it up.
the little callus.
Or maybe
you
they
get.
imply that I'm not a native speaker.
No, it's a
and that
French.
I,
It's
I
very
don't speak
clearly a French word. You speak French.
I know
So you
exactly.
don't know what it is in French? It's the
The
little.
bottle opener or something like.
No, not bouchon. Bouche.
I can't read your screen.
Bouche. Embouchure.
Oh, I don't know. Bush is mouth.
Bouche is mouth. Yes. So embouchure is how you purse your lips to play the trumpet.
And they think that's a level 4?
Look, just because you are like not
I have a PhD
not musically trained.
Jeremiah is a musician. Jeremiah, did you know what an embouchure was? Can you ask him on the text if he knows what an embouchure is?
I think
It's 4:59. We should not abuse our audience any longer. Members of the audience, we have succeeded in using D3. We will continue probably using D3 in our last session of the year of 2020 before breaking for the holidays next week on Friday. So we look forward to seeing you there. And with that, we bid you adieu for this week's episode.
We had a visitor who said that they were my biggest fan, so I'm very excited about that.
Ooh! Bye, everybody. See you next week.
Bye-bye.